21, who is guilty? January 1943. My German friends. As we look back at the end of the old year, a serious question arose. The question of guilt regarding the frightful occurrences that have come upon our generation. Who is guilty regarding the First World War, regarding the rise of National Socialism? Who is guilty regarding the Second World War? The question of guilt must be answered because the ethical world order demands that the forces of destruction themselves be destroyed. In Germany, people frequently feel that the question of guilt is a pretext for the victors. But look at German propaganda. They repeatedly assure that it is others who are guilty. The Jews, the capitalists, the communists, no one works more with accusations of guilt than German propaganda. Since German leaders themselves put the question, it is ludicrous that they want to forbid the same by others. The question of guilt encompasses many questions, but one stands in the foreground: guilt in the present war. It is sometimes important to establish who started it. It is important to know that Germany first crossed the borders of Poland, Norway, Holland, Belgium, Serbia, and Russia. It is important to know that Japan first crossed the borders of China and America. It is important to know that Italy first crossed the borders of Ethiopia and Greece. Outwardly, it is clear to the natural sentiments of all people that the Axis powers are the aggressors. And still German propaganda maintains that others are guilty. We want to examine the reasons stated by Axis propaganda. The first reason is a system of lies. When the National Socialists wanted to invade Poland, they assembled a system of lies about Polish attacks. When they wanted to occupy Norway and Holland, they told of preparations for attack by these neutral countries. The only interesting thing in all of these lies is the question: to what end? Why this expenditure of falsehood? It is the obeisance of the National Socialists to a moral world order, which they cannot acknowledge, but to which they must show consideration. It is the concession that there is guilt. Another reason the propaganda uses to shift the guilt is that England and France delivered the declaration of war against Germany. But the German attempts to keep peace took place after the entry into Poland, and Poland had received the guarantee from England. When Germany attacked Poland, it understood that it was attacking England. The guilt of Germany cannot be shifted in this way. German propaganda uses more deeply striking thoughts to shift the guilt. They speak of a battle of those who have against those who have not. That is difficult to prove when one thinks about Russia, China, and France. Germany was economically ahead of these countries. The National Socialists conquered Germany at the moment a natural process of recovery had begun. They interrupted this process and compelled the world to employ the fruits of labor for machines of destruction. They brought the same misery upon those who have as they did upon those who have not, in order to win power all. Finally, they say that they represent progress and that all other nations are reactionary. But what progress has National Socialism brought? Was it an advance in equality? But why then the war against Russia? Or was it an advance in freedom? But why then the war with America? Or was it an advance into a new international order? But why then the destruction of international law? Not will to progress, but will to power has driven the National Socialists into war. There is no path onto which National Socialism can shift the war guilt from itself. It alone is guilty. It will enter into history with this guilt. For the sake of this guilt, history will judge it.